What's going on YouTube? This is another pastel painting sketch. The image is a John William Waterhouse. You can simply Google John William Waterhouse and that image will show up. And the links to the materials that I'm using are in the description box of the video. Anyone that may be watching these, have been watching these streams for a while, you'll know that I've been out for a while due to technical difficulties. So this is a sketch, but it's also yet another internet test. I've done some other adjustments. I won't get into specifics, but so far this seems to be the most consistent setup. So if this does work today, then we'll be back to our usual schedule at some point soon. I've had other issues setting up the streams, but I won't talk too much about it. This is just more a fun sketch for those of you to follow along. Anyone that may be watching this live, let me know how the stream is doing. If it is choppy, don't be afraid to let me know. That is the point of this test, to see if it will be choppy again. I'm just using the black soft pastel. These are Rembrandt brand soft pastels. Now we have the placement for the eye sockets, the nose. Thanks for the like. Looks like somebody left a like. Again, let me know if you are able to hear the stream, if everything is working out. Like I said, I did a number of different things, so my audio quality may be worse than what you're used to. Picture quality may be slightly better for some reason, but let me know what you think. Oh good, everything's clear so far. Thanks, Grace. And believe it or not, I am still recovering from whatever sickness I had. It wasn't COVID, but whatever it was pretty bad. It's been over a week now. And not to blame anything, but I kind of blame it. I had lost a pretty big tournament, pool tournament, a couple days ago. And actually resigned from pool for a while. I'm not going to be playing pool for a long time. It was a pretty bad loss, so I will always have painting. I will always have all of you here. But yeah, it's been pretty tough. Pretty tough. You know, if you read the description of this Waterhouse, apparently like 20 years ago, I guess more than 20 years ago now, somebody tried to say that this wasn't a Waterhouse, and it's attributed to be somewhat of a self-portrait. But it's kind of interesting, we don't know if this is actually a Waterhouse self-portrait or a portrait of Waterhouse that somebody did. So that's kind of interesting to be in that ambiguity. Thank you, Sel. Great to have you back. I am still very sick. Yeah, it's been over a week and I'm still very sick. Oh, thank you, thank you. I don't know what it was. It wasn't COVID. It was something else. And at this stage already, this is good to show you something very important about drawing and painting in general. straight lines and angles and keeping your arm loose, yet working out specifics with straight lines and angles. Pretty important to practice. Pretty important. Alright, now, it's been a while actually. I haven't opened up my soft pastels since the move, so this is where I keep them. And we're going to start blocking in with this reddish brown, blocking in the shadows. Then we'll use the ochre for the lights. So again, those of you that are here live, definitely let me know how often you're experiencing disruptions on the stream, if at all. Hopefully it's all figured out by now, but you never know. You never know. So as this is a sketch, I will only focus on the face. This will be left kind of as a vignette, but I'll still put some information in it, obviously. Thanks, Lisa. So far, so good. That's a good thing. Hopefully we can get this all figured out so I can get back to business as usual. This is now yellow ochre. This is the mixed media paper. Linked in the description box for you. I would be so curious to see if this is the setup that works. Definitely feel free to comment anything really that you're interested in asking or saying. Alright, now we're gonna go into planes pretty quickly. Hey Cal, red 4 flesh shadows. Whatever this is, I really wish I could give you a more specific answer, but whatever this red was typed in the, I think it's kind of like a burnt sienna. Now we're gonna use it for planes, of course. But yeah, all that's typed up for you. It's basically a burnt sienna. Is what it is. No, don't be. I want you to talk to me. Trust me. I know that it may be somewhat intimidating to talk to somebody that's doing a YouTube live stream, but trust me, everyone, I'm not a big time YouTuber here. I'm just somebody that's been doing YouTube for a while, but never really made it big. I hope to one day, but trust me when I say this to you. Ask me whatever you want. Ask me if my favorite pizza. Doesn't bother me. Trust me. Go ahead, ask me my favorite color. It's all good. NJ wrote, do you happen to know what causes the darkest light in the diffuse reflection to rise in chroma before hitting neutral? Oh, that's a good one. You wrote, remains consistent in chroma as it hits the core shadow, it gets neutral. Let's see. Yeah, I know, I'm still sick, but it's alright, it's okay. Trust me, it's okay. I'd rather be here with the internet working. As this is a color question and it has to do with some scientific questions, Cal, I will say, trust me, no, talking is fine. I'm not, my throat doesn't hurt or anything. It's basically, I just, I'm congested still. And still have a slight headache. But other than that, I'm fine. Now, when we're talking about color, there's two ways to think about it. One is science, and the other is perception. Science is, if you will, match a color specifically to another color based on a numeric code of some sort, or using physics, knowing that chroma will be less in the shadow because there's less light, less photons hitting an object. Therefore, the human eye will perceive less saturation, meaning saturation is how bright something is. But as an artist, and it's my opinion, humble opinion, you want to think about it in the sense that you are not you're not writing a textbook. This is not a textbook. This is a poem. It's not literal. It's a poem. Everything that you're doing here is poetry, visual poetry. Even at this unfinished stage, I could sell it and maybe buy myself a Chipotle burrito, but like, it's poetry. So I will say to have as much freedom as you can with your color choices early on, based on my teachers, based on what I think. However, to answer your question specifically about the chroma, I don't know how to answer that one question scientifically. I don't know. That's alright, Grace. I'm still here. Hey, Tipu. But color is a very unique field of discussion, and I will say that the most experienced painters I've ever met in my life, like the best painters I've ever met, like Nelson Shanks, and you already know all the names that I've mentioned before. Basically, all of them use perception for color. It becomes more logical and analytical for planes and values. When it comes to color, you tend to have more freedom than with form or with values. If your best friend showed up, if your best he or she friend showed up, or whatever pronoun you want to use, showed up covered in purple paint, you'd still recognize them. You'd still recognize them. But if someone had the same exact skin color as your best friend from who knows how many years ago, and they showed up, you wouldn't automatically say, oh, that's my best friend Billy from the 5th grade. Now, as I get to this point where I'm mixing the yellow ochre, the black, and the brown, these are the only colors I'm using thus far. It's yellow ochre and whatever this burnt sienna type brown is, and black. That's all I'm using right now. I will add white to it perhaps at some point. Oh, thanks, NJ. And definitely let me know if this is choppy. If it's not choppy, I'll tell you the solution to my internet problem had a lot to do with numbers. Messing around with numbers on my software. It's weird. So weird. And so far, everything that I've tried to do is actually counter. It just doesn't make sense. I basically upgraded my visuals. So if you try to watch this at 1080p, definitely try to watch it at 1080p if you can. You'll notice you actually should be able to. In the past, you weren't able to. My internet wasn't fast enough, even before I moved here. But hey, if this works, which let's fingers crossed, it looks like it is working. Next week we should be back to our 3 hours at a time. Today is short. I got a student in about 30 minutes on Zoom. Rangi. But look how close these colors are to skin tones. Thanks, Shavu. 3 of them. Burnt sienna black. This is not burnt sienna. This is close to it, but it's linked in the description for you. I may have even linked burnt sienna itself, but it's really close. Yeah, nose will probably need something. Yeah, Cal, I get you. When it comes to likeness, there's no way I'm gonna get that close to it in this short period of time working this way. But looking at, yeah, looking at both of them, the angle of the eyes and the nose is the angle of the eyes is too much on mine. It's a little too straight, I think, on mine. These are things that I see. But when you're doing a sketch, try the best that you can just to kind of move your hands around, like move your arm around. Get used to this fluidity. Thanks. Well, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, yeah, that this is the solution. You know, a funny thing about this test is I took out my microphone. That microphone had always given me trouble. Even before I connected it in the old place, the old apartment, it gave me trouble. Once I figured it out, it sounded great for a while, and then I just happened to disconnect it, and now that's one of the things that's, I don't know, in play here. No problem, Cal. So glad to have you. You know, it's kind of funny or interesting. since I've been gone for the past like month or so, like I don't know, I think it's been like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Um, you know what's strange? Anybody notice that the Facebook, those short videos, like the funny ones with the people use the cats like as part of a meme of something like that? I saw a lot of memes like pool related, though I'm trying to stay away from pool now. But they're kind of addicting to watch those little cats. Like the cats that are not just the cats but the dogs. It's basically all of those short Facebook videos. And obviously they're all catered towards funny, like humor. Catered towards humor, like cats pulling down trees and things like that. Christmas trees. But I feel like there's been a big rise in that stuff. Not so much this stuff, like long-term video. And obviously I'll probably will never switch to short-term. I've always liked this long-term format. Yeah, hopefully it looks like he's looking down. This guy should be looking down, I think, hopefully. Soft pastels are excellent for this kind of stuff. Just a couple of days ago, I did another test with my streaming software for basically like a Santa Claus looking figure. I don't know if anyone saw that one, but that's a much simpler way to start. But this is still a lot of fun for sure. Yeah, and this is a really affordable way to get into portrait painting with the pastels. So you said you can lose hours watching reels of cat, dog, animal music videos. Yeah, that's been a thing. I noticed it got big recently. Hopefully YouTube's not in trouble. Of course, YouTube's always had the shorts, but Facebook's format is really good. And the new generation, the Gen Zs and whatever generation we're on now, pretty clever with a sense of humor. I think it has to do with the fact that those younger kids grew up already using social media when they were like in middle school. Really good. They're very good, very talented kids. Let's just hope content like this still survives. Yep, Cal, correct. It's all sculpting. You're absolutely right, and I never even mentioned that. In this video, I haven't mentioned it, but yeah, this is all sculpting, looking at just planes. All planes. Same colors too, black, yellow, ochre, and the burnt sienna type color. as scratchy as it is, it'll still have form and depth to it. Yeah, these soft pastels are really nice to use. They're not as like sticky as the oil pastels. Of course, they don't have the thickness that the oil pastels have. We could say, yeah, it's kind of like glazing. You might be able to do have more of a glazing like effect with the oil pastels, I think. This is more like charcoal, handles like vine charcoal where you can push it around. Really thankful to have you all here during this pastel sketch. Hopefully this is somewhat informative in terms of the plane building and such. And it seems like nothing is cut off on me that much in terms of the stream, so I may have figured it out. Only took me about a month of trial and error. But better late than never. Most of all, with these streams, I want every single one of you that watches these streams to like kind of like feel like somebody's there in the room with you, so you don't feel alone. Now more than ever, honestly, I've felt the most alone I've ever felt in my life. Won't go into specifics, but yeah, it's been very tough for me. And I'm glad to hopefully have these videos back. Now we'll push more of the light. So it's pretty much just yellow ochre. And this is just a great head study to do, especially if your concern is with planes, working with color and basic shapes. So thanks, Cal. Kind of has that looseness, painterly looseness. With soft pastels, you can use a stump to blend it or use your finger, but whatever you use, especially if you use your finger, try to not do more than that, because the oil from your hands can cause kind of an issue with the pastels. Not as big of a deal as with charcoal, but still. But I like using more of this hatching type approach. And although I would say this is not absolute beginner level, I feel like anybody at any stage would benefit from sketching in this way. Little suggestion of the eye there. Just what makes this Waterhouse so powerful, really. The simplicity of it. Crazy to think that so many years later we're still using the same kind of simplifications. Here's a cross hatching. Simple shapes, everyone. Oh, thanks, Cal. Just kind of moving through simple shapes and values. That's all this is about, simple shapes. Hey, William, welcome, welcome. Degas, I'm not sure, but he is definitely one of the most famous pastel artists in history. Yes, he did do dancers, but I think there were little portraits in there. I don't recall specifically. I think he did a pastel portrait of his father in another portrait. Like, I mean, in another painting, like composition. This is great, though. We've got over 20 viewers here for such a short stream. This is awesome. Really happy to have you all here. And it seems like it's working. Like it seems like the stream is working, so expect me to be back next week. Welcome, Mark L. Welcome, welcome. Seems like the stream is finally working. Let me know if you can hear any of the traffic in the background. It's kind of... Actually, you know what? To me, it's kind of soothing. I live on the 14th floor now of a high-rise apartment. So I constantly hear the traffic down below. But it's not loud enough to me where it's annoying. But it's kind of soothing, though. I did disconnect my expensive microphone, so... Hey, Libertas, welcome, welcome. No, I don't wash my hands in between, like, you mean like if I were to take a break while I'm painting? Like, I'll only wash my hands, you know, like if I'm going to eat or have to use the restroom or something, but yeah, like once this session ends, I will, yeah, wash my hands because I'm going to get dinner ready. Actually, I'm not even going to do that. I got a student at 3 on Zoom. So I'll probably just jump right into Zoom. But it is important to be mindful of the pastel on your hands. You know, specifically, like recently I've been messing around with using contact lenses, and I won't wear contact lenses if I know I'm going to do anything with painting, any painting related stuff. So right now I'm with the glasses. I won't wear contacts until I'm certain that I'm not going to touch any of this stuff. Oil paint, pastel, soft pastel, whatever. Because that's just something you don't want to risk. Some people use gloves when handling pastels or oil paints. You could do that too, if it makes you more comfortable. My favorite paper for pastel, I mean my favorite paper in general is Canson. Metiant. I like the pastel paper from Canson. Canson Metiant's pastel paper. Any of the colors, I mean oyster is the color that I used back in school, art school, several decades ago now, it feels like. Ingress paper. Not sure I've tried that one. Maybe I have, I don't know. I may have tried it and just don't remember, but honestly, any paper that has like a tooth to it, like some depth to it, will be just fine. You just kind of have to figure out the in-betweens, in and outs of exactly how much the paper will handle. This is mixed media paper that I'm using. It's listed in the description box. It's I also have it right here. The Strathmore mixed media. And yes, yes, definitely. I'll use this for finished stuff. And a couple months ago, when we were doing the 3 hour streams at a time. I would finish a portrait in 3 hours using the same paper. Doing more than just a sketch. We've done that before with this paper. Though I haven't done, say, like a couple months worth. And to be honest, it may not be the most popular opinion, but anyone that wants to do like a super finish, your best option is to use oil paint, just because you can work on it again after so many months of letting it sit, versus something like pastel or watercolor or something like that. These are more intermediate materials, like right away kind of immediate materials, whereas oil paint is more like, well, you can spend a year on it, 2 years on it, more if you want to. Hey, Trancer, welcome. Oh, thank you for the comment. Hope you have a great weekend also. William, advice about getting a likeness in a portrait. So one of my teachers, John DeMartin, would say that likeness is nothing more than the confirmation of an accurate drawing. Another teacher of mine would quote his teacher, Nelson Shanks, that it's important to find form with freedom, meaning draw with freedom. You can see there's a lot of freedom here. I'm not really stressing over almost anything at all. And if your primary focus is likeness, then isolate an exercise or an entire painting to focus on your linear drawing, the placement of your eyes, your nose, your mouth, like all that stuff, and get that down immediately. If your priority is likeness, suppose you have a commission you got to do and likeness is absolutely vital, then yeah. Or you can start something like this where it's more loose and then work your way up to the linear specificity of it. But if it's a high pressure situation where you've got a commission and it has to be done soon and the likeness has to be very, very dead accurate, the best thing I would suggest everyone out there is trace it. Just get the photograph, trace it, project it, whatever you got to do. Some people think that's cheating. That's not cheating, because you are capable of drawing super specificity anyway. So why not just shortcut the time by doing it the projector? Project it, trace it, get the job done, and that's what you want to do if you have like a high pressure commission or something like that. For everything else, go ahead, work as freely as you can and enjoy the process. Yes, by freedom I do mean looseness, William. NJ, you like the metions for that? That's good, that's good. It does hold a lot of layers, yeah. No room for expression. Yeah, draw as much as you can, and yes, that is certain. But let's focus on practicality. Some of you are going to have to take on commissions, either now or at some point later, where you're going to need to get a likeness and you're going to need to have a finished image relatively soon. So it's going to be important and vital for you to understand that you're going to need a process that will expedite your work. And you're going to need to basically internalize all of the procedures involved in your painting. That is light, shadow, planes, and all that stuff. So, for example, if somebody were to ask me to do a commission and have it done by next week of like a face like this with a background, maybe it's a face, and then they're wearing a suit and tie or whatever like that, like a suit and tie, and there's like a little landscape in the background or a still life or whatever. Your average client, if they're not, if they didn't go to art school or anything like that, if they're not art inclined, they're gonna see a photograph and they're gonna be one-track minded. Like most people that don't have art training are one-track minded, and that doesn't make them any less than us. It just means that they haven't studied art before. And it doesn't make us any better than them. It just means that we have training in something that they don't. Just like this guy could be a surgeon, and I don't have any training in general surgery. That doesn't make me like less intelligent than this guy. Maybe it does, but it's just that there's a training gap there. So, and I mean this in the most humble way. When you're going to do a commission for someone and likeness is paramount to them, just trace it, because they want that photograph on canvas, but they want to present it to their family members and say, this is a painting. And they're going to say, what? But it looks like a photograph. That's the average mentality. The average mentality is, wow, your painting looks just like a photograph. And that's what they want. And you can get that done really fast. Trace it. And then fill in your light and shadow, maybe a couple midtones, and that's it. Not this kind of subtle, poetic, plain kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like they won't see that. So William, you wrote, my problem is finishing loose. I'm interested. I lose interest after the middle. He looks more like he owns a schnauzer. Is that what this is? A schnauzer? Man, I can't even see. Schnauzer. That's funny. Because the mustache. Yeah, so having kind of like a loose finish. The biggest advice I got for you, William, is as you are entering the finishing stages, stand back away from your painting more than you're used to. And keep your arm further away than you're used to. I can almost guarantee you that I can almost tell you with 85% certainty that when you're entering the finishing stage, you may be too close to your painting, and that's why it starts to lose the looseness to it, the fluidity to it. If you look really close into the most realistic paintings from the Baroque period, the 17th century, you'll find that they're actually quite loose. A lot of Caravaggios are actually quite loose. Rembrandts are actually quite loose. And it's not about having a loose painting. It's the looseness in the painting on its own is not, it's not something that you necessarily want to strive for. It's more of an afterthought. It just happens based on staying further back, standing back, using the training that the old masters gave our teachers generations ago. It's just a byproduct. That loose kind of finish is just a byproduct of the technique of staying further back, of seeing shapes, big shapes, seeing the big picture before getting hung up on little things. So it looks like this worked, everyone. this may have worked. My internet didn't cut off at all. We got to do a little sketch, right? This was about, I don't know. Wow, this is almost an hour actually. This has been 50 minutes. And it worked. Looks like we didn't have any major interruptions in the stream. I think we did have a few little ones, but no big ones like in the past where my hand would freeze like this. So that's good. Looks like it didn't freeze too much on us. I'm really happy about this. So this means that next week you should have me back at the least 3 days a week. We'll be starting out at the minimum 3 days a week. I may have to do the streams earlier in the day than I used to. I used to do them at 4. But I'm in a smaller apartment and my wife gets back soon around 5 or 4:30. So I have to be done with the stream before then. So I do have a Patreon. If you if you type Yupari Artist and Patreon, you'll find me there. And just feel free to message me any questions you have on there. So we have pre-recorded playlists there, so you can follow along with any skill level that you're interested in. We've got it. I will tell you, everybody, that it's mostly portraiture. It's about 95% portraiture on my Patreon. But yeah, we'll have it all there. Oh, thanks, Andrew B. Viking Boy. Welcome, welcome. And thank you all so much for attending this stream. It's been a long time since I've had a stream without major internet interruptions, so this worked out pretty well. I'm still feeling really sick, but hopefully some point soon I'll be back to normal. So stay safe, everyone. I wish you all the very best. I hope you have a great weekend. Anyone interested in my Patreon, just type my name and Patreon and take advantage of it. Just message me on there. You could literally just message me on Patreon and I'll respond to you about 50 times faster than I would on any other platform. So anyway, thank you all so much. I wish you all the very best and look forward to some more streams next week. Take care and I'll see you next time.